Hi everyone, I'm Ken from Crypto Trading KS. If you're new, welcome, and welcome back to our regular community. Let's run the numbers. Bitcoin currently trading at 32,636, up 1.93%. Ethereum trading at 2055, up 3.59%. Rule 775, listen to everyone and keep your hand in your pocket. Do your own research. This rule is particularly relevant to comments on any YouTube station. If you're new to this channel, I'd like to let you know that everything I do for you is free. We have 100% free groups on Facebook, Discord, and Twitter, and you can also direct message me anytime on those platforms. Anytime somebody reaches out to you on our channel and asks you to go to WhatsApp or Telegram, or gives out phone numbers, you know it's fake. They're just scammers. Please don't fall for what they are selling. Twice a day, 7 days a week, I share my experience as a full-time crypto trader. I've hidden secret crypto tricks and tips and rules throughout this video to share with our dedicated community. See how many you can find. My goal is to assist you to be more of a financial blessing to yourself and those you love. Rule 774, master yourself to master the market. Marie Curie, a Polish-French physicist, did pioneering research into radioactivity. She won the Nobel Prize in Physics and the Nobel Prize in Chemistry. What an incredible woman. She said, nothing in this life is to be feared. It is only to be understood. How does this relate to your investing and trading? And we always know all investors become traders anytime they buy or sell. Now, how does it apply? The markets, crypto especially, is really jam-packed full of fear. There's fear of missing out, there's fear, uncertainty, and doubt. You name it, the fear is in crypto. Crypto is incredibly volatile. To make it less volatile, you need to understand it. It's really, really important. That's what this channel is all about. I'd like to introduce you to Rule 111. Crowd psychology creates price. It's really important to understand this rule, especially in crypto. This is the KS model. The KS model is a crypto technical trading model based on institutional price psychology after a halving event, which creates a price shock in crypto. There are three separate phases: a bull market, a bear market, and consolidation. The next halving starts, bull market, bear market, consolidation. The next halving starts, bull market, bear market, consolidation. And so the cycle goes. It's really important we must compare the same psychological state, that is the bull market sunshine to the bull market sunshine to the bull market sunshine. We cannot cross psychologies. In the bear market, it's like darkness. We cannot compare darkness to sunshine mathematically in a meaningful way. This is really important to understand. Consolidation is like dawn. The sun is just emerging, just peeking through the clouds. A lot of people talk about the rocket coming up to the moon. The rocket takes off, rocket, up to the moon. It hits the moon. That hammers in the mathematically protected high of that bull market. And then the rocket hits the moon and the moon says, get out of here, rocket, go back to Earth. And the bear market starts with an 85% drawdown. When the rocket touches down, it's called capitulation. Capitulation hammers in the low of the bear market. Then the rocket rebuilding continues throughout consolidation until the halving. Then the rocket takes off and it goes and hits the moon, hammering in the all-time high of that particular cycle. Then the bear market. It's really important to understand this. A lot of channels don't, and they make very erroneous mathematical conclusions. My past experience is a stats lecturer in first and second year stats, and I have a finance and actuarial background. It's basically hardcore mathematics, so I understand a couple of things about numbers. One of the important things when we psychologically compare sunshine to dawn, say you're looking at this particular area, point 1, and then you compare it to, say, for example, point 2. That is a black swan event, by the way. It's not normal price action. And then you may compare what's happening in 1 and happening in 2 and parallel it to 3. You've crossed sunshine, dawn, and darkness in the same breath. We must compare apples to apples. It's the law of mathematical consistency. It's really important. We compare 1 to 4 to 7. We compare, because that's all bull market. Bear market, 3. We compare bear market to 6. Consolidation in 0.5, we compare to 0.2. For example, I hope that helps. Whenever you see people looking across different phases, this can be problematic. I know that people do it to indicate what's likely to happen, but they're missing out on a lot of mathematical laws. That's an absolute violation of many, many laws of mathematics. Let's quickly look into possible crypto price action now. The Chaos model has shared some likely high-end range estimates as far as the bull market peak in 2022, May 2022, between 288,000 and 486,000. The absolute minimum high that we expect to protect this mathematically protected all-time high of the previous bull market cycle is 132,418. I've done a lot of explanation in episode 138 and episode 139. Also some explanation in episode 140. If you would like to look at that, that will help you. If you have a look at episode 129, we discuss this particular price action, which is about equivalent price action in the last bull run of the 2016 halving cycle. Price came down much like it's coming down now. You saw this spike and people thought the bull run was over. They were talking about bear markets. What price didn't care what anyone was talking about. It rallied 60.55% in just 3 days. This is the volatility inherent in Bitcoin. That's why I always say prepare for the best and worst case scenarios. There's a lot of commentators that say Bitcoin is going to $0 or $10,000, or just pick a number anywhere from this current price to $0. It's really important that we zoom out and look at Rule 171. Bitcoin upsets the apple cart in so many ways. People invested in the S&P 500 are not very happy about Bitcoin's incredible returns year on year on year. This is actually 10 years of returns across Bitcoin, gold, and S&P 500. Gold investors can be particularly annoyed at how Bitcoin is so strong in terms of its returns. If you tend to find people talking about Bitcoin going to $0, you might find that they have a gold background. The important thing to understand, I actually was involved with gold for many, many years. I love gold. The point is that gold is just a tradable asset, as is Bitcoin, as is the S&P 500 and stock markets around the world, and commodities as well. People are always looking for the best return. There's also a lot of misunderstanding of what Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies actually represent. They are the foundation for the Internet of Value. The first Internet we can see here in this technological adoption curve. Total global Internet users in millions. You see this white line? It's coming up and up and up. This stops at 1 billion in 2006. We'll check out later how it's going. I wonder if it's above 1 billion now. Here we can see crypto, and we're actually comparing early phase internet adoption with crypto adoption. I had a really interesting comment in the, I think it was private message. Really fascinating. I actually had an internet service provider. I owned an ISP back in early 1993. Internet was slammed by people. The governments didn't understand it. They wanted to stop it. The telcos refused and wanted to time local calls to stop the internet from spreading. It was a violent time for the internet. People think that it was easy. No, it was a disaster. It was so hard. Crypto's going through the same thing now. You're witnessing it. Basically, crypto is growing year on year, 80% average yearly growth. It's growing more quickly than the internet ever did. It's like we're back in 1997 when we would compare the internet to crypto. That's really important to understand. I asked that little question, 1 billion internet users, I wonder what it is now. Do you have any ideas? This is a good one. As of January 2021, there were 4.66 billion digital users, internet users. Amazing. And if we look over time, look at that. The internet users have come up and up and up and up and up, and they're still going. One day, the entire world, the whole population, will be connected to the internet in some way. What's this little guy? Blockchain wallets. What's that thing? Oh, that's interesting. Not to disappoint. Blockchain wallets. Very interesting. This is the total number of unique blockchain wallets created. 74.91 million. If we look back at this, that's really small in comparison to the total number of users that have the internet. This is in 2019. One day, all people will have a blockchain wallet. It will be normal. It will be normal for central bank digital currencies as well. Our community is estimated, on average, it probably will take about 5 years. An incredible piece of news today. I don't often share the news in this particular segment, but I thought this was good. JP Morgan is offering 5 cryptocurrency funds to clients. This is incredible signal. Bitcoin ATMs to invade convenience stores. Wow, this is adoption. JP Morgan has been very much against Bitcoin. In its news, it has been quite negative. It's fascinating to see this change in behavior. Again, JP Morgan, they're very, very smart people. They know that they would prefer these kind of returns to those kind of returns, and perhaps those kind of returns. Let's get into Rule 174, T cubed, trend, timing, trigger, 3 T's. It's really important to understand the trend of overall cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin rules the market. It is the dominant player, and Bitcoin's gravity affects all altcoins. That's why we look at it. If you don't know where Bitcoin is going, whatever you invest in, whatever you trade in, you will lose money eventually. The trend is vital to understand. To uncover the true trend, we look through Rule 1112, the KS process. We're always using Rule 181, compare the same psychologies, when we look at on-chain data. We're always seeking to gain probabilistic outcomes. When the number of transfers to exchanges of Bitcoin spikes up like this, we have a peak. It happened back here and back here in previous cycle highs. A lot of people have said that the previous action topped out at around 64,000. There is no probabilistic evidence of that, especially when we see accumulation, not distribution. This is really important to understand. Bitcoin is characterized by blow-off tops, measured up here by these numbers. We haven't got up here to 5 yet. And blow-off bottoms, which are called capitulation. That's when the rocket lands back from hitting the moon. Capitulation. We can see the current price has a long way to go based on probabilities comparing past cycles. Euphoria and capitulation are critical aspects of Bitcoin's price action. A lot of people don't know this. They think it's a cryptocurrency or a stock or something like that, and they're proven wrong time and time again. Bitcoin is very violent, but it obeys certain laws. Euphoria, these blue peaks up here, they hammer in highs and all-time highs for a specific cycle. The red down here, which is capitulation, that hammers in the bear market lows. This was the COVID sell-off. That was in a different phase. It's so important to know the psychologies. Without it, you're just going to be lost. This particular on-chain data, realized cap hodl waves, what it's saying to us is each particular segment of the bull market. Remember, we're only interested in bull markets, comparing a bull market to a bull market to a bull market. You can see 3 waves, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We're waiting for 2 and we're waiting for 3. We always go with the trend. If you don't go with the trend, you will be smashed financially. Just another piece of confirming data. The Puell multiple is quite low. It's away from this red area, quite close to the green area. If we look at the Bitcoin hash ribbon, we can see tops have a lot of clear space. This is the 2012 cycle. We can see the bull market peak. There's a lot of white area. The bear market from there, there's a lot of white area. If we go across to the 2016 cycle, we see a lot of white area, white space to the left and to the right when the bear market was occurring. This is capitulation in that red ribbon. We now compare the same psychological state of the market at 3. This is basically happening because the Chinese economy, the Chinese Communist Party, evicted all the miners from China. I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. Okay, so the China miner problem is actually the world's benefit. The China miners are redistributing to other countries. That's fantastic. It just means security for the Bitcoin and crypto network. It's phenomenal. Now, this particular hash here is potentially comparable to 1 and 2. It just says we've got a long way to go. We're always interested in the money flowing into and out of Bitcoin. Bitcoin leads the market. We have to understand it. We can see through the stablecoin supply ratio, SSR oscillator, that money is being deployed. Stablecoins are being fed into Bitcoin. That's a really positive sign. Rule 193, check the stock markets. Every day in the later session, we always go through the technicals of Bitcoin and alts and look across the entire market. Now, there are always new stories talking about the stock market, and because people go through this particular trend video, they know what's going on. It's really vital to check the stock markets. The place that we start is to understand the global business cycle. If we look into the US, the largest economy in the world, it's at early stage recovery. It's not near the peak. It's got a long way to go. The Delta strain of COVID-19 is particularly problematic for markets. It could close them down and close the economy down. So we need to look at them. It could curtail growth. However, we're in a different situation from before when we experienced the major sell-offs. Nobody was prepared for COVID. All the warnings that experts put out about COVID spreading globally, pretty much the whole world ignored. We'll just look at yesterday's figures because I think that gives you a bit of a understanding. There were 560,661 new COVID cases yesterday globally. We're going to look through the US market because it accounts for so much stock value across the globe. In fact, about $56 out of every $100 goes into the US stock market. This channel has perhaps the most in-depth coverage in the shortest amount of time of any channel, and that's what this is all about, giving you the most extensive information humanly possible. These are the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases. you can see they're going up. The number of recovered is going up. The number of deaths is going up. This is just a way that we can actually keep our eye on what is happening everywhere. You can see the real M2 money stock is exponentially increasing. That's the money printers going crazy. If we have a look at the unemployment rate, we can see it spiked as the world closed down, and it's starting to actually normalize, starting to improve. We also check money supply, unemployment, inflation, interest rates. We check it all, basically. You'll have the most comprehensive knowledge. You can put the paper down. It's probably, this will satisfy. Let's have a look at the 10-year break-even inflation rate. We can see Bitcoin's fingerprint is here in gold. The inflation rate is in blue. We can see that the break-even inflation rate has traded above this once resistance and turned it into support. Inflation rate 10-year is increasing. We have a look at the break-even 5-year inflation rate. We can see that it overtook this resistance, turned it into support, and is in an uptrend. Notice that there is an association. We're not saying one causes the other, but we're saying there is an association between Bitcoin's price and inflation. Let's have a look at the 5-year forward inflation expectation rate. We can see it's still under resistance. Rule 101, news reflects current sentiment. Many decades ago, when I first started trading, I read every news source possible. And what I found out was the positive reason they gave for one thing on one day was the negative reason of the same thing on the next day. It was bizarre. What I do these days is I treat the news with one eye closed, one ear closed, and half my brain turned off. Because, why? I learnt through a lot of losses because I acted on the news. I now understand news reflects current sentiment. That's why we have Rule 101. So let's have a look at what the current sentiment could be. We saw the NASDAQ 100 selling off, and now it's recovered, which is fantastic, really. We know that always price is moving in a wave. It's going down and then up and down and then up and down and then up. It would be natural for price to do a retrace back to this support line, which is quite a strong support line. Actually, Scott Minerd, the chairman of Guggenheim Investments, has predicted a 15% decline in the markets by October. I can understand a decline back to this particular support line, absolutely, and I pointed it out quite a few days ago. The issue is that is normal price behavior and very, very healthy. When things get overextended, this can happen. We don't want that. We don't want a really spikes down. We don't want those things. We want more gradual price corrections rather than drops. And that's pretty important to understand. Price moving in a wave, if it goes down a little bit, that's fine. But we can also understand that the news commentators will say it's the end of the world. Just be aware of that. The news will give you many negative reasons and many positive reasons for up and down movements. Some of the positive reasons are vaccinations are expanding, the infections or spread of the COVID variant are decreasing, commodity and consumer prices are decreasing, lower rates will be maintained, stimulus is increasing, no tapering, economic growth and demand and recovery is positive or there's optimism in it, earnings growth is strong or upbeat, unemployment is decreasing, global monetary conditions are good, confidence is increasing, expectations are increasing, results are good, risk appetite is elevated. And they'll say exactly the opposite when price goes down. Just look back 4 days, you'll see these things inversed across to the negative reasons. It's really important to understand. Everybody wants an explanation. Why did price go down? Why did it go up? And typically they'll just flip between different reasons. That's why we need to zoom out. We're in Q2 earnings seasons. AT&T, Abbott, Biogen, and Blackstone beat expectations. Refinitiv has predicted that quarter on quarter we'll see 65.8% estimated earnings growth. The Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell, and the ECB, that's the European Central Bank, is keeping an accommodative monetary policy stance. That's good. There's no change. That's what it means. It's really interesting to see the Reserve Bank of Australia and New Zealand starting to ease starting to taper their emergency stimulus, but keeping rates low. For oil, OPEC has increased crude production by 400,000 barrels per day starting in August 21. API and EIA are both showing an unexpected rise in US crude inventories for the first time since May. Okay, with all that information, let's now blast through all of these. Let's have a look at the S&P 500. We can see it's maintaining support. Russell 2000 coming back to resistance, still under it. The Dow Jones bumped off support, getting into that resistance level. Let's have a look at Facebook. Facebook has hit that support and bounced. What I have here is the market capitalization of these companies. It's quite cool. I always try to give you something different. Market cap of Facebook is now around just under $1 trillion. Let's have a look at Amazon. Amazon market cap is just about 1.84 trillion. Well done, Jeff. Okay, we can see that resistance was broken through. It's come back and been retested, and we've got a resumption off. Have a look at Apple. Look at Apple. See, would we very proud, around $2.5 trillion. Apple is on a tear. Let's have a look at Netflix. Netflix at around about the 227 billion mark, doing well, but it's dropped below this one support, and now one support, it's turned to double resistance. Let's have a look at Google. What's its market cap? Around $1.74 trillion. Impressive. It's on a tear, but as we know, price is always moving in a wave, up and down, up and down. We're not too fast when it moves down. It's just a natural, healthy part of price action. If we look at Microsoft, price is moving up and down, up and down. It's moved up. What's it going to do? Of course, it's going to move down, and that is normal. Let's have a look at the market cap, about 2.15 trillion for Microsoft. Let's have a look at Nvidia. Very good to track Nvidia, especially for mining related stocks, Bitcoin mining related stocks. We've got a support level. It's moved up in a wave. It's come back, showing strength here and resuming up. Nvidia market cap around 490 billion. Let's have a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is starting to reach over that resistance. Fantastic. Beautiful. We can see in ETFs and countries and public companies and private companies, there's approximately 1.46 million Bitcoin held. Pretty neat. Let's have a look at total crypto market cap. It's currently trading at $1.326 trillion. The interesting thing to note, if you were to perhaps look at Facebook, Facebook is on the tear. What is Facebook? It's an internet company, an old internet 1.0 company. It is literally a $1 trillion company. What about Amazon? Amazon is an internet company. 1.84 trillion. When you look at Facebook and Amazon, and then you look across to cryptocurrency at 1.326 trillion, what do you say? You say, Ken, can you show me that graph again? What, this one? Absolutely. Technological adoption curve. The global internet users was increasing. This is from 1992 to 2006. And then we see down here from 2016 to 2030, we can see that the number of crypto users in millions is increasing. Now, what does this mean? Crypto is growing far more quickly than the internet. So one day crypto companies will be larger than internet companies. What does that mean? Does it mean one day we'll be looking at new companies, not Facebook, not Amazon? They'll hopefully still be here, of course, but there will be different companies with much larger valuations than this $1.84 trillion for Amazon, and they'll be crypto related. Isn't that fascinating? It's intriguing. Just keep that in mind when people are saying Bitcoin is going to zero. Wow. Just also, please hook in to our timing episode. The timing episode actually starts to look into the revenue to understand how much money is being made inside crypto, for real dollars, that is. Okay, let's have a look at CoinShares physical Bitcoin. We can see it's just breaking over that resistance. It's going to follow Bitcoin. Bitcoin is moving the stock market now, not just crypto, but the stock market. We can see this resistance line, it's over. For Purpose Bitcoin ETF, QBTC, the Canadian Bitcoin Fund, is over that resistance, seeking to turn it to support. ARK-K is under this support, but popping up. The ARK Innovation ETF, ARK-K, is a little bit different. It's got some mixes in there. ARK Next Generation Internet ETF, I can't speak today, is under that resistance. Let's have a look at Grayscale. Grayscale is really important. It has 654,600 Bitcoin. Look at that. It's over that resistance. There was so much FUD about the Grayscale Bitcoin unlock, and I told community members, I shared the stats with them, I shared the concepts, the understanding, and it's behaving as we would anticipate. People were saying, Bitcoin is going to go to 10,000. Yeah, not likely. The trend doesn't support that analysis. Let's have a look at the Bitcoin group, ADE. The Bitcoin group, ADE, is over that very tight resistance line. Let's have a look at MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy, currently a $5.5 billion company, is just under this resistance. We can see it's very much tracking ARK-K and ARK-W in terms of price movement. Let's have a look at Galaxy Digital. Galaxy Digital, around a $5.4 billion company. It's coming up to resistance. Let's have a look at Tesla. Tesla is approximately 626 billion. It is hugging these support lines. Everybody likes a hug. Tesla's just having a hug. Voyager at the moment is under this resistance line. Voyager Digital is approximately a $2.3 billion company. Let's have a look at Square. Square racing off that support line. Square has 8,027 Bitcoin and a market cap around the 118, nearly $119 billion. Let's have a look at Marathon Digital. Marathon Digital, a basic, let's have a look here. My mouse is out of control. $2.53 billion company is under that resistance. You can see the same kind of patterns playing out on the same kinds of groupings. Keep that in your mind. It's really good. Coinbase Global, we can see, is above resistance and seeking to create another level, another breakout. It's consolidating very, very well. It's around $47 billion currently. Let's have a look at Silvergate Capital. Silvergate Capital, around $2.7 billion company. We can see it pierced through that support, got back, crushed that resistance. It's come back to retest. Let's have a look at Hive Blockchain Technologies. Hive Blockchain Technologies is around 814 million. It's under that resistance. You can almost group specific stocks into categories. That's a good thing to do. Look at Riot Blockchain, same kind of behavior. It's really good to understand these behaviors. It's very, very helpful. 2.8 billion Riot, and holds 2,243 Bitcoin. It's under resistance. Let's have a look at Bitfarms. It lost that support line, is coming up to retest, and it's around $517 million in market cap. ARB, Argo Blockchain, is around the $43 billion mark. Not bad, very impressive companies. They will only grow over time. We cover everything: gold, silver, VIX, the dollar, treasury bonds, yields, all sorts of defensive sectors, and oil. We need to know what's going on in the market. If people say, oh, the dollar is doing this, and you don't know what the dollar's doing, you're at a disadvantage. That's why I prep you up with all this knowledge, so you can listen to things, see the patterns. Let's have a look at gold. Gold had a fairly substantial resistance line. It turned it to support, but that broke down. It's trying again. So gold, we can see, is just literally at support. What's happening with silver? Silver was doing quite well and just broke down recently. It's still at support. Let's have a look at the VIX, the market's fear index. You can see the fear is coming out of the market. Let's look at the dollar. A lot of people say there's an inverse relationship between Bitcoin and the dollar. Do you see an inverse relationship? When the dollar goes up, what does Bitcoin do? Hey, it goes up. When the dollar is going down, at the moment, what is Bitcoin doing? It's going down as well. That's not an inverse relationship. That's a direct relationship. The dollar has come up. What's Bitcoin doing? It's recovering. It's getting over its resistance. That's interesting. This is why you've got to be careful listening to the news. Just put one eye closed, one ear closed, and turn off half your brain. The more important thing is to look at the actual charts and to understand. Do your own research. It's really important. Okay, let's have a look at treasury bonds. What are they doing? They broke out of resistance and they're in an uptrend. Currently, they're above support. Let's have a look at high yield corporate bond ETF. That is still at support, struggled and getting back to that longer term support. Let's have a look at the 10-year treasury note yield. I'll just zoom in so it's a little bit easier to see. We have an uptrend of support. It broke down through that, and there was a lot of reasons. There was some particular selling activity with the Fed coming out, and people were very worried. Anyway, we can see that this support line has become resistance. Let's look at the 30-year treasury bond yield. We can see that's holding that support line. Having a look at the US transportation ETF is important. If the economy is closing down over COVID, the world's largest economy, it's going to be reflected in the transportation ETF. We can see that we had a downtrend here, held support, it's over the support. We'll keep our eye on this. The utilities fund ETF, this is really important because it's a defensive sector. If the utilities fund actually goes up above this resistance, it could call us in to look more deeply at a risk-off event. So far, it's hit resistance and backed off. That's why you need to cover so much information. Of course, if the airlines are shut down with the Delta strain outbreak, they'll just collapse. You know that. This is why we're looking at all of these indices and indexes and ETFs. We want to form the most comprehensive analysis of the market. We can see the airline index hit support and bounced and is currently transforming that resistance into support there with the retest. Let's have a look at oil. I'll just zoom in a little bit so you can see more easily. We can see this upward support. Oil has recovered and is seeking to get back above this. It's still at resistance. Let's have a look at light crude oil. Same thing as Brent, just getting up, acting a little bit more powerfully. Congratulations, we just went through 54 different data points. That qualifies you almost into the expert status. When people talk about anything, they talk about the dollar, they talk about oil, they talk about unemployment or inflation or whatever. You're going to know far more than a lot of other people. I just want to point out something quickly here. I have a thesis. Let's see how it plays out. This is the price of Bitcoin. You see it rising here. This is the NASDAQ 100. As the NASDAQ 100 retraced to its support line, Bitcoin kept on going, and then Bitcoin hit a peak, and as Bitcoin and the NASDAQ both retraced, the NASDAQ started to divert from Bitcoin like this, a divergence. I actually think what may happen, and we know Bitcoin is only like $1 trillion industry. It's small at the moment, very small, like a little baby. I believe that we'll see funds flowing from the stock market into Bitcoin to normalize this. Let's see what happens. It's worth keeping our eye on. I'd love to get your opinion. What do you think? Do you think that the money will flow potentially from the stock market and bonds into crypto? Given that investors will seek out year-on-year returns to maximize their gains like this, what do you feel? I'd be really interested to see your comments. I hope you found this content useful. Everything I do for you is free, twice a day, 7 days a week. Please be aware of scammers. I do these videos to assist you to be more of a financial blessing to yourself and those you love. It's really important to understand if you've got any comments in the YouTube channel asking you to go off to various sites and then hitting you up for money. It's not us. Everything we do is free. We've got free Facebook, free Discord, and free Twitter, and you can direct message me anytime. Don't fall for phone numbers or anything like that. Please keep safe. It'd be lovely for you to reach out and say hi and to let me know where you're viewing from. I really enjoy saying hi to people. Sometimes I get a little bit lost for time as I have other things to do besides these videos, but I always do my best to send you a like and a heart. If you get one of those, know that I'm saying you're awesome. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope the information has been valuable to you. Please remember that crypto is volatile. Always prepare yourself for the best and the worst case scenarios. Reality will be likely between them. Stay safe out there. Take care and see you next time. Bye for now.